Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. This week's article is The Anchor of Society, the Supreme Council's 2023 Biennial Session by Brother Chris Ruley, 32nd degree, KCCH, and comes from the November-December 2023 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. The Supreme Council of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite, 33rd degree, Southern Jurisdiction, kicked off its 2023 biennial session on Sunday, August 20th, in Washington, D.C. Perhaps recalling that the anchor is an emblem of a well-grounded hope that shall moor us safely in a peaceful harbor. This year's theme, Freemasonry, the anchor of society, was demonstrated throughout the session with a number of engaging activities and presentations. The crowning of the new active members was held Sunday morning at 8:30. Later, a great sense of camaraderie and joy permeated the Washington Hilton Hotel, in part due to the lifting of the city's COVID pandemic restrictions, which had limited the previous biennial session's scope significantly. In fact, while interviewing a number of attendees throughout the session, many expressed great relief in being able to return to Washington and enjoy fellowship in person. Sovereign Grand Commander James D. Cole, 33rd degree, greeted attendees on Sunday at the welcome reception in the St. Regis Hotel, mere blocks away from the White House in the heart of Washington, D.C. The reception lasted approximately 90 minutes, and guests were then invited to St. John's Episcopal Church, just 2 blocks south of the St. Regis, that they might participate in the Albert Pike Memorial Service, a tradition dating back to memorials held for Pike after the former Grand Commander's passing in 1891. As in years past, the Supreme Council's Grand Chaplain, the Reverend and illustrious Kenneth D. Lyons, 33rd degree, Grand Cross, performed the main service to a packed audience in the house of worship from the White House that is often called the Church of the Presidents. Titled Our Best Friend, Reverend Lyons' sermon encouraged Masons to use the Bible not merely as the rule and guide of faith, but to treat it as a friend and study it assiduously. Session attendees were then free to explore the nation's capital, while the Grand Commander and the Supreme Council's active members gathered back at the House of the Temple for their executive session. Sunday evening was the Sovereign Grand Commander's reception and dinner for Grand Masters and Amity Sovereign Grand Commanders. The Supreme Council's public session was held the next morning, on August 21st, in the Washington Hilton's International Ballroom. An estimated 840 individuals, including national and international visitors and spouses, attended the session, with another 400 participants viewing the session through the Council's YouTube live stream. Featured guest speakers included District of Columbia Grand Master, Most Worshipful Anas F. Kamara, 33rd degree, and Brother Ryan Brown, 32nd degree, International Master Counselor, DeMolay International. Grand Commander Cole presented charters for 3 new Scottish Rite Lodges of Perfection: Northern Arizona, Charles County, Maryland, and Fayetteville, North Carolina. Charters also were presented to Northern California for all 4 Scottish Rite bodies. He honored 2 of newest Grand Crosses elected. A round of applause and a hearty welcome was extended to the Grand Master of Hawaii, Most Worshipful Dustin T. Verity, 32nd degree, KCCH, who attended the session. Later in the session, Cole announced that the Southern Jurisdiction voted to join the Scottish Rite Northern Masonic Jurisdiction in sending Masonic assistance to Hawaii to support their relief and reconstruction efforts. The public session culminated with a video detailing an impressive list of achievements and activities led by the Supreme Council and House of the Temple staff. Following their luncheon, attendees were treated to a special panel discussion moderated by illustrious Maynard Edwards, 33rd degree, featuring illustrious S. Brent Morris, 33rd degree, Grand Cross, and Arturo de Hoyos, 33rd degree, Grand Cross, Grand Archivist, and Grand Historian. Questions and discussion varied in theme and included a brief history on the Franken manuscript, the Scottish Rite Research Society's recent publication of Albert Pike's The Porch and the Middle Chamber, and past projects between illustrious Morris and de Hoyos. The session was well attended with approximately 100 Masons present. The next day, August 22nd, saw candidates elected to receive the 33rd degree, Inspector General Honorary, gathering at the House of the Temple to begin their degree conferral. The ceremony began in the Temple Room for a brief moment before candidates were shuttled to the District of Columbia Valley's own Scottish Rite Temple, located just north of the House of the Temple at 2800 16th Street Northwest. DC Valley Masons performed the degree conferral, which several candidates later characterized as a special and deeply profound experience. Meanwhile, back at the Washington Hilton Hotel, House of the Temple's staff arranged a brunch and fashion show for attendees' spouses. The papier-mâché decorations, produced by the Orient of Maryland, were very well received by the participants and praised for their detail and craftsmanship. The Scottish Rite Research Society luncheon was held later that day. Illustrious Akram Elias, 33rd degree, Grand Cross of Washington, D.C., was selected as this year's S. Brent Morris Lecturer and provided a stimulating overview and themes from his Prestonian lecture, the only official lecture given by authority of the United Grand Lodge of England, which he presented earlier this year. Past District of Columbia Grandmaster Elias gifted each attendee with a bound and autographed copy of his Prestonian lecture and announced that publication proceeds would go towards the House of the Temple Library. Earlier that day, during the public session, illustrious Elias was recognized by the Supreme Council as one of the newest Grand Cross honorees. Biennial session attendees then were invited to visit the House of the Temple for a special archival exhibition. Entitled Tomes Before Freemasonry, the exhibition comprised a collection of the House of the Temple's oldest books, including venerable volumes in Latin and spiritual alchemy and Rosicrucianism. Special tours also were held for first-time visitors to the Supreme Council's headquarters in Washington. "It is really awe-inspiring," one attendee commented while entering the temple's atrium, "to be in Washington, D.C. and see history this close. It's a beautiful building." The biennial session's festivities concluded later that evening with the honors banquet held in Washington Hilton's International Ballroom, with music performed live by a small band playing smooth jazz. The event not only marked the end of the biennial session, but also served as an opportunity for attendees and newly elected 33rd degree Inspectors General Honorary to be recognized for the hard work that led to their distinction and to enjoy some much-deserved fraternal fellowship. The 2023 biennial session not only reaffirmed the strength and resilience of the Southern jurisdiction's Scottish Rite, but also demonstrated the enduring relevance of Freemasonry as an anchor for society. It remains a testament to the dedication of its members and their commitment to the principles that have guided them for centuries. Furthermore, it provided an opportunity for Scottish Rite Masons and their families to gather in the heart of the nation's capital to celebrate our jurisdiction's accomplishments over the last 2 years, while looking towards the future. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 33rd degree, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.